Welcome to Sleepless Running Plays. Today we'll be playing the first of 3 Bezier games that I'm going to be running through. This is going to be a how-to-play game video followed by probably a short solo session. Colony is a pretty simple game set 80 years after the Nanopocalypse, and it's up to you and your opponents to rebuild civilization in a stark new world. So, it's a dice drafting game, is what this is. Colony is a dice drafting game. The box for Colony has a very nice setup. You got a score tracker. You've got all your cards that are in there based upon, starting player, what they are. And that little piece of protection covers over all of your dice and your tokens. If I was going to comment on any one thing, it's kind of that I wish they'd made little dice trays that you could have removed instead of having to shuffle those all out by hand. But whatever. We've got all of our resources we need. We just need to get our cards. Since I'm going to be doing anything single player wise, I just have a single score track right here. Each player has 4 cards as they start with. They start with a warehouse, a supply exchange, an upgrade card, and a construction card. That's your starting setup that each player has. Each player also has a reference card they can use. So once each player has all of their 4 starting cards, you then begin setting up the table between all the players. In it, you'll place the 6 basic cards: GMO Farm, Protein Lab, Fabric Replicator, Fiber Mill, Uranium Mine, and the Fallout Shelter. Now, if you're wondering why I put down just 1 card, it's because I'm setting up for a solo playthrough. In the solo playthrough, you only get 1 of each of those 5 basic cards. If there's more players, you put out all of them. Because in a normal game, there'd be 6 of each of those, and then 8 Fallout Shelters. Now, we place 7 stacks of variable cards equal to the number of players. So, 1 for me, 2 if there's 2, 3, or 4. In the main rulebook, there are 3 given setups, but you can also go on Google Play or the Apple Store and download something called Colony Setup. It will allow you to randomize your cards you get, and also let you put restrictions and preferences of the cards. Like, let's say you really like to have investment banks. You can make those more commonly occurring. Or maybe you really hate pirates. You can get rid of them completely. They'll never show up ever. So, I'm going to be playing what's called the non-confrontational setup in the main book. It's probably relatively difficult to play single player, but there's no confrontation. So, I'm going to be ignoring all attack and defense cards, which is kind of that way I want to do it. The non-confrontational setup in the rulebook consists of a power supplement, a experimental generator, exchange post, stabilizer, reactivator, infrastructure, and gambling den. Then, once we have everything set up like that, each player takes 3 stable resources. Stable resources are the white die. You roll them, and you place them in your warehouse. In a multiplayer game, the player that rolled the lowest would become the active player. If there's a tie for the lowest, all players would roll again until 1 player has the lowest sum. In a 4-player game, the 4th player receives a chippy. That's these little tokens right here. So the way the game would be played is, on any player's turn, or on the active player's turn, they would roll 3 resources. And Okay, this is middle of edit, Sleepless Ronin. Going to explain that I kind of explained the rules a bit badly when I was doing the video, because I tended to play the game a little bit more fast-paced, so I've kind of rolled some of the things together. So, because I do that, let me here explain the steps of a player turn. Step 1. Prepare. An active player takes all of the dice in their warehouse and places them in their play area. Some cards, like Gambling Den and a few others, would activate in this time slot, so in the prepare phase. Step 2. Scavenge. The active player takes 3 white dice, 3 stable resources, and rolls them. He chooses 1, then the player to his left chooses 1, the player to his left chooses 1, and the 4th player gets none. The player whose active turn is places it in their active supply. The other 2 players place the die in the warehouse. If the active player has any chippies, at this point in time, they can choose to roll them. Then, after scavenging, you activate. The player may activate any number of their cards, including upgrading, which may be done once per turn. Activate may be done in any order, and activated cards should be tilted slightly so you know they've been activated. The player does not have to build on any new cards in his turn. And if he doesn't, he can then use the activation of the construction card to gain chippies, 1 or 2 from the upgraded version. And so essentially you're just activating all your cards. This includes things that produce unstable resources, things that your construction card that builds, your upgrade card, so forth. When you activate a card, you tilt it, and then you get its benefit. When you're all done activating, you then go to the cleanup stage. The active player adds all newly built cards from activating the construction card to his colony cards. So you can't build and then use a card. You build it, it goes into a reserve spot, and then at the end of the turn, it gets played into your colony to be used next turn. Then, any stable resources that are left over, you can store in your warehouse. If you have too many, you have to discard them. Then, you look at your score, you move your score marker on the score track, see if you've won, and then it goes on to the next active player. So, in the solo game, which is what I'm playing, you only get to take 1 of those resources. And the other 2 are gone forever. So I have to think about very, very carefully about what I want to do. Because I'm trying to score the most victory points. And I've only got a pool of those white dice, and they're going to disappear relatively rapidly. But I'm going to gamble on getting a 4 in the future, so I can use my upgrade effect. So those white dice that I just had are now permanently gone from the game in the solo mode. So the way the game ends, if you're playing multiplayer, is you'll notice on the victory point track there's a 4, 3, and a 2-player marker. When one player reaches that, at the end of his turn, he wins the game. That's it. So you can shoot over, but if someone reaches there, they win the game. In the solo mode, you're just attempting to score the most points before you run out of stable resources. So now that I've gone through the prepare step. I skipped the prepare step. In the prepare step, you would take the dice out of your warehouse and you'd set them up. Then you would do the scavenge step. That's the rolling dice step. Then I'd go to the activate step. I would like to do the upgrade, but I'm a die short right now. I need to have a 4. I've got a 1, 2, and a 3. But since I didn't do that, since I'm not buying anything, I'm going to use the construction card. The construction card will give me a chippy, which I'll just place right there for memory. Actually, I'll put it right there. That gives me a chippy, which I can then roll next turn. Each card is explained in detail in the main rulebook on exactly what it does, which is really nice. So, here we go. Back to my second turn. I'd take all the dice out of my warehouse, but again, I'm not really going to right now. I don't see the point. I roll the white dice, and I go, oh, look. Well, this will work, actually. I'll take a 1, and I'll lose the other 2 dice. They're gone forever. Then, I'm going to start activating things. First off, I'm going to activate the supply exchange. The supply exchange is really kind of cool. I get to take 2 dice of my choice, and these could be unstable dice if I wanted to use them, and I put them back in the supply. They're not gone. I'm using them. And I get to take another die to pick a stable resource. So I'm going to take that 4 I've been wanting. Hey, that's nice, isn't it? Okay, so now I've activated that. I'm going to then activate the upgrade card. Once you've activated a card, you should tap it to represent that it's been used. Again, since I'm running with those limited resources, I'm not really bothering with that as much because I'm so fast. But I'm going to now use my upgrade card. I spend all 4 of these. They go back to the supply area, not gone. And I'm going to flip over my construction card to 2.0 because I have a feeling that I'm going to need to get a lot of chippies throughout the course of this game if I'm going to survive. So, my upgrade card's gone. Then I'll use my construction card to get 2 more chippies. Hey, I'm doing alright. Sort of. Into my turn, I clean up. Check my score. I've scored no points, of course. I'll show you what a point looks like. Points look like the orange half circles. I've scored none so far. Okay. So on to a new turn. I roll 3 dice. And what do I want to keep? 2s look really, really useful out there. And I guess 3s though. So I'll keep a 3. And oh, not there. Those 2 are gone forever. Now I could spend my chippies if I wanted to, and see if I can roll something useful to have. The problem is I've got so few dice right now that I'm thinking it's probably not worth it. So I'm just going to gather 2 more chippies. You can have an unlimited number of these, but you can only spend 3 at once. So I'm just going to keep investing right now. This is not easy, I don't think, playing solo. Wow, if I could keep both of those 6s. So each resource in the game has a numerical representation. It's kind of one of the funnier things. A 1 represents scrap metal. A 2 represents genetically modified organisms. 3 is protein. 4 is polymer fabric. 5 is fiber. And 6 is uranium. So I just found a lot of uranium that's not super useful for me right now. Yay. I'll take a 6 anyways. Get rid of those 2 dice. So I have a 3 and a 6. They don't combine very well. So I'm just going to go to my next turn. Oh, get 2 more chippies and go to the next turn. God, this is just feeling awful as a roll. Well, there's a 3. I'm really looking for those 3s, I think, right now. So I'm going to take that 3. Lose those 2 dice. And I'm going to spend 3 chippies because I can. I'm going to see if I can't get some luck out of this. A 6, a 2, and a 2. Wow, that is actually perfectly lucky. So I take my 6 and my 6 right there, and I spin them to convert to get a 3 as a stable resource. Then I spend my 3 3s and my 2 2s to get a GMO farm. So I've used supply and construction to grab a GMO farm. So, hooray. That's my stuff. This time I do not get the chippies from the construction card because I've instead built with it. Still, that feels pretty good compared to my other turns. Oh, and I score my very first victory point. Hooray. Back to the top of the turn. 5 5 3. You know what? Those 5s are really cool. Those are gone. I automatically get a 2 for the GMO farm every turn now. It produces an unstable 2. I can't save those. It just produces a 2 every turn. That's what the little symbol on the bottom means. Very simple, very useful. But you know what? It's just fine. If you upgrade it, it actually gives you a permanent 2, which is also pretty nice. Again, since I'm not spending anything, or I'm not going to construct anything this turn, I get 2 chips. The unstable goes away. This happens every turn no matter what. Okay, I got a 2, 1, 2, 3. Put the 2 there, keeping the 2. Those 2 dice are gone. Actually, I got a 1, 2, and a 3. Yeah, I keep the 2. I get another 2. I'm going to spin 3 chippies because I can, to see if I can get anything nice. 1, 4, 6. Not very useful, doesn't look like. None of those match up. If I had kept the 3 off the previous roll, I'd be in better shape, but I didn't. 1, 4, 1, 2, 3. Because I can't even convert anything. Well, I could spend. Now that's not useful. It doesn't help me any. Doesn't help me any. Yep. That was just blah. Those are all gone. I didn't construct anything again. So I get 2 more of these. I'm running out of white dice really fast. because you have 30 white dice, but every time you roll, you're spending about 10% of those, and you're only getting to keep one of them. 1. Those are gone. I'm beyond half at this point in time of how many dice I've spent. I'm going to spend 3 chippies again. I really need to. I need to be getting something else out. If I could only roll not sucky, it would really help. It's not an easy game. Even if I could get a stabilizer, it would really help. I could spend both my 5s to get a 4. I have a 2. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend both the 5s off the supply exchange in order to get a 4. I need my 4s right here, these 4s, and this 2 to pick up a stabilizer. But I gained 1 more victory point. Back to the top again. Let me scooch these in. Keeping the 2. Those go over there. I'm just going to roll these 2. 2 and a 5. I've got 4 2s and a 5. I can buy a gambling den for 3 2s. And I'm going to do that because it's victory points at this point in time. Not a card I really like all that much. But I'm doing it just for victory points, so just going to kind of leave it like there for now. Then I will convert this 5 into a permanent 5. So I have a 5. Three 2s and a 5. I need 3 5s and a 2. So what I really need more than anything else. What I need is another 1. I'm running out of dice. I'm almost done with this game. I'm doing very badly. This is a terrible game. I haven't played this game in a very long time, so, you know, my own fault. Oh, I got 2 chippy last turn for not building anything. I'll save the 5. So I got a 5 5, 2 2 2, and a 1. 2 5s. If I had 3 5s, I'll spend my chippies. 6 and a 4. Those are useless rolls, weren't they? Yes, they were. Well, I'm going to spend 2 2s to get a 5. And I've got 3 5s and a 2. I'm going to buy a fabric replicator. I'm just going to slide it under my GMO farm because it's just yet another producer thing. Gives me another victory point. And then I'm going to use the stabilizer to turn that 4 into a permanent 4. So we got 2 4s I'm keeping in my warehouse. That's gone. Okay. And I use my construction card to build, so I'm done. My unstable resources that are produced. Wow. I'm taking that 4. These 2 dice are gone. So 3 4s and a 2. Get me the protein lab. I'm getting my unstable resources to really cook for me now. That's another victory point. I'm up to 5. My next turn. I built with construction again. I don't get any chippies. 1 1 6 with an unstable 2 3 4. Well, I'll keep the 1 because the 1 will let me upgrade right now. And I really think the upgrade is the best thing I can do. So 1 2 3 4 is an upgrade. I'll upgrade the supply exchange. That'll be more useful. That way I can turn any of those things into a permanent. That'll give me another victory point. I didn't construct this turn because instead I did the upgrade. So I get 2 chippies. I'm getting really low on white dice, but at least I'm starting to get some victory points here at the end. I'm not doing very good at all. 1 3 5. 2 3 4 produced over there. 1 3 5. 1 3 5. I'll keep the 3. Lose those 2. Spin my 2 chippies. A 5 and a 3. 2 3s. Just more than enough. I'm going to use the supply exchange to exchange this white and this gray to get a 4. I'm going to spend these right here on the construction to get the exchange post. Because essentially I'll give myself one more turn this way. I'm literally just buying that for the victory points, nothing else. Because I'm down to my last real roll of the white dice. I have to hope I can roll something really good right here. I'm not going to. There's nothing I can actually get, I don't think, out of this last roll. But I did get a 1. And a 1 is good enough to help. I get the 1, 2, 3, 4. I can use the upgrade card again. And I can upgrade anything I want to get another victory point. And that's the end of the game for me. I did really bad, in my opinion. But it's a really simple game. I mean, that's how you play a game of Colony. Solo player. I mean, honestly, I think I just stumbled really bad at the beginning. Wasn't paying attention. Probably should have spent more time, not as much time building up chippies, and just going for some rolls. But was my decision. So yeah, 8 points. I think that's a pretty crappy score. I should probably be able to get at least a 10, I think. But you don't have a lot of turns. In the solo mode, you eat those white dice up really fast. It's a fun game. It's enjoyable enough, and for solo experience, there'll be at least 2 more Bezier games coming up relatively soon. I'm just going to do a little playlist of them. I decided that I had at least 3 of them in my closet, and I liked the 3. And all 3 had a solo mode, and that's what we're looking for right now. We're still in a pandemic, so we're going to play some solo mode games. If you have any comments or questions, please ask them in the comments below. And this is Sleepless Rowan saying, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough and this how to play. And we'll see you in the future. So, sayonara.